and in partnership with viewers that matter, like you. The advice given in the following program is of a general nature only. Viewers should consult their own medical professional for medical advice specific to their circumstances.
This week,
life expectancy was probably like non-existent when I was born. And as I'm getting older, it's going up. So I mean, now that I'm 25, life expectancy is 32.
babies born with heart defects living longer than ever expected.
You know, I think what we need to consider in Canada is that we've got a very poor donation rate.
Is it time to start paying for the gift of life?
Individuals with the illness are still able to walk and talk, even play the piano, but can't remember the names of their children.
And the mysteries of Alzheimer's disease unraveled by Dr. Caldwell. Hello, I'm Leslie Jones. They've often been called blue babies, children born with holes in their heart, abnormalities in major arteries, or pumping systems that don't work. 30 years ago, very few of these babies survived beyond their first couple of years. Today, thanks to medical technology, there are more adults with congenital heart disease than there are children. When Bill Mckay was born with heart defects, he only had a 1% chance of living beyond infancy. And now, like hundreds of other medical miracles, he continues to survive against the odds. Bill Mckay is a positive young man with a great sense of humor. He leads an active life, working a full-time job. He's a devoted boyfriend and son, sharing his father's passion for restoration. Yeah, you're getting free work here. But he's even more than all of that. He's a walking, ticking medical miracle. Against the odds, Bill has survived 5 open heart surgeries and 7 pacemaker operations in his 25 years.
When I'm falling asleep at night, I hear some metal thing ticking in my chest. So, I mean, I know it's technology and science that's keeping me around here. As the technology goes, I'm kind of riding the wave.
But it hasn't been an easy one to ride, according to his parents, Diane and Dave Mckay.
He's been there a number of times, and that's the way it goes.
So close.
You're right on the edge, and then you're not on the edge, and you're on the edge, and you're not on the edge. And it's like, get on the biggest roller coaster in the world and ride it to the top and back down and multiply that 1,000 times. It started the day he was born. His mother knew right away there was something wrong with her 4th child.
He wasn't nursing like the rest of the babies had, and he was a little dusky around the mouth, and his hands were a little bit gray, and his knees, and like from his knees down, and just wasn't as lively.
Shortly after, Bill was diagnosed with truncus arteriosus, a congenital heart defect. Today, they're able to detect this even before birth.
He is freestanding as you can be. Yeah.
Dr. Gary Webb is Bill's cardiologist. He heads the adult congenital heart unit at Toronto General Hospital.
Bill started off with 1 artery coming out of his heart instead of 2. For us, we have an artery that delivers red blood to our body and blue blood to our lungs. And he had 1 artery that did both jobs. So he started out with a serious fundamental problem.
They didn't think that he would make it. Like it was very unlikely that he would live beyond 14 days. That was pretty hard.
Hard.
That was very hard. Very hard. I guess what's on the 15th day, they sent him home and said, there you go. We don't want to do the surgery till he's 5.
25 years ago, doctors thought it was just too risky for an infant to undergo open heart surgery. But by the time Bill was 2 months old, the doctors had no choice.
He went down to about 7 pounds something. 7 pounds, I think 6 ounces. And that's when they decided that they needed to do the surgery and that it couldn't wait till he was 5.
They prepared for the experimental surgery to attach another artery to Bill's heart. Janine Allen is a nurse at the Congenital Heart Center of Toronto General Hospital. She helps patients understand what to expect.
First, I'll show you with the normal heart. You have 4 chambers in the heart, the upper 2 collecting chambers and the lower 2 pumping chambers. Then you also have 2 exit routes out of the heart. One goes off to the lungs here, and the other goes out to your head and to the toes.
This artery carries blue blood to the lungs to gather oxygen. The other artery sends out red blood that has already been oxygenated to the rest of the body.
In Bill was slightly different.
Bill had only one artery, sending blood to his head and toes, and off the side of it was the other artery to the lungs. The blue blood and the red blood were mixing. Doctors needed to attach a piece of tubing and an artificial valve to prevent the blood from mixing. The operation took 14 hours.
I think we had a 1% chance.
Yeah.
It was 99 to 1. And
Let's take a shot. So
yeah.
you take the shot.
And we got the 99 to 1 because they had done the child before and he had succeeded.
Bill was the youngest yet to undergo the congenital heart surgery, pioneered by Dr. Fraser Mustard in the 1950s. It started a revolution in pediatric heart surgery.
The main pulmonary artery is larger than normal.
Dr. Bill Williams, a cardiosurgeon at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, has witnessed the incredible learning curve in the last 25 years. He's followed Bill's case since birth.
Initially, we started out thinking that babies wouldn't tolerate a big operation as infants. In fact, that was quite wrong, and as long as the children are corrected without residual defects, they can tolerate operations in the first few days of life.
Many defects can be repaired without surgery with the use of catheters. But defects as serious as Bill's still require open heart surgery and a lengthy recovery period. After his initial surgery, Bill stayed in the hospital for 6 months and was given a pacing system for his heart called a pacemaker. It was the start of an ongoing struggle with the technology.
He came home, we had him home for Christmas, and New Year's Eve we had to take him back, and his heart rate had fallen down. I think it was 50 at that point.
When you say 50 beats a minute, it's not spaced out 50. It's bing, bing, nothing. And you're wondering, when is the next one going to kick? And then you get...
And then it was about 2 days later, I think, they put a new pacemaker in. And then that worked for a while, maybe 3 or 4 months, and then we were back again. Yeah, I think he had 3 pacemakers within the 3 years. Like of his first 3 years of life.
But pacemakers developed just as heart surgery had.
Pacemakers are more and more sophisticated as time goes on, and they duplicate the normal rhythm quite well. But they have their own problems in being battery dependent and needing to be replaced at some point, usually not for 5 or 10 years.
School presented another set of challenges.
So how do you tell a 5-year-old, don't run after that ball, and don't be wrestling with that fella, and don't be doing somersaults, and
you can't.
You can't. So it's go with the flow and do what you can do, and that's the way it is. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
In the early days, everybody was afraid that if a child did too much, that he might drop dead, and or harm might come to the child. And now we know that that's not true, and very few children are limited artificially in what they can do.
When I was a kid, you're always like thinking, you know, I wish I was fine. I wish, like, what would my life be like if I had just been a normal boy? So it's like kind of like the Pinocchio thing. I just want to be a real boy, you know?
Then in 1989, when he was 12, the valve in his artificial conduit started failing, and Bill faced his 3rd open heart operation.
It's funny, you always hear like people say they have like a midlife crisis at like 30 or something, and then I was like 12, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have this big surgery, and like all this stuff was going down, and I was like really nervous. Like, I'm like, well, what does this mean for me, you know?
This time, Bill was given a homograft, a valve from a human cadaver, to replace the pig's valve he had before. It failed within 2 months, but was eventually repaired.
I'm sure that we'll be able to bioengineer valves and grow valves from the patient's own tissue, which would have the decided advantage of being living and capable of repairing themselves, and hopefully last a much longer time.
You get those valve covers. I'll get this side.
Okay.
Bill's health was stable until he went into college. One of the valves was leaking, and other complications that are common for adult heart patients were presenting themselves. To prevent stroke, Bill was put on blood-thinning drugs with many side effects. He developed lung problems and leg infections. This time around, doctors were going to put in a mechanical valve.
Same valve again there, Ken?
I felt like I was running out of batteries.
We don't like to use an artificial valve if we can avoid it, and we don't like to do it before the patient really needs it, because that commits them to further valve replacements as the valves deteriorate.
You get in there and they're like, well, you're having an aortic valve done and it's going to be a mechanical valve. You're like, this isn't normal. This isn't what I grew up with.
He now has a mechanical valve in, which is going to last a long period of time, and so hopefully we can put a distance between him and the heart surgeons for quite a while.
After the surgery, it was like I was totally recharged again, like day and night. Totally felt better. I recommend it.
Okay. Good enough.
Good.
One of the challenges in this field is to not to put 5 or 10 years consecutively together, but to put decades together.
Life expectancy was probably like non-existent when I was born. And as I'm getting older, it's going up. So I mean, now that I'm 25, life expectancy is 32. So I hope when I'm 32, it's like 50 something.
And now it's time for this week's health quiz. Which of the following body parts cannot be replaced? The eyes, the lungs, or the skin? We'll have that answer for you a little later on the show. Donating an organ is called the gift of life, but there is a huge shortage of organs. It's well known that many in Canada will die waiting for a desperately needed transplant. In Pennsylvania, they are reimbursing families to increase the supply of organs. But for many, that raises ethical concerns. And here to talk about the issues are Dr. Carl Cardella, a nephrologist and Director of Medical Services at the University Health Network in Toronto, and Miriam Schuckman, who teaches medical ethics at the University of Toronto and the University of Buffalo. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Well, we know that there are 4,800 Canadians on the list waiting for an organ. Those lists are getting longer. They wait longer and longer and longer. What's wrong with the notion of introducing money into the mix to try and increase supply? We'll start with you, Dr. Schuckman.
It's a hot topic, Leslie. I mean, there is this serious shortage, and people are saying, well, at least if we were paying something to people, it would encourage them to donate. Number one, we don't know that. Number two, there's the risk that someone might donate an organ because there's a financial incentive when that's not actually what they should be doing. And that, I think, is the big risk that worries people so much.
Dr. Cardella, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. We have a terrific problem, a major shortage in the number of organs that we can transplant. But we can't go beyond what our society feels is ethically comfortable in terms of money and donation. And that's a big issue. We can't go beyond what we think is right as a society, where our comfort zone is with how money interacts with this process of giving. Because giving is primarily an altruistic notion, and to quantify it, to commodify it, is against the inherent sort of ethical principles of a lot of people.
In Pennsylvania, we know that they've